Hello everyone, welcome back to the Scrumheads NRL podcast. This is episode 5 and we are joined by Scott Sattler, the former Queensland lock and played for the Penrith Panthers in his infamous 2003 grand final match. Thank you for joining us here, mate.
Thanks, CJ. Thanks for having me.
First question is, you made your NRL debut for the Gold Coast Seagulls back in 92. What was that like for you?
It was great. I was a Gold Coast boy growing up, CJ, so playing for the Gold Coast Giants back then in 1988 when they first came into the competition, that was always going to be a dream of mine. I supported South Sydney as a kid and always thought Sydney was just too far away. So I thought playing for the local team in the Gold Coast Giants, who then became the Gold Coast Seagulls, was a dream of mine. So I played under 21s. In our under 21s team back then, there was Kevin Campion, who went on to win premierships and play for Queensland. Jamie Goddard, who went on to play games for Queensland as well. Adrian Vowles, who played for Queensland, and a lot of NRL games as well. So we had a really good under 21s team. And then I remember I played under 21s against Parramatta. And
oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, and then we were sitting in the grandstand after the game watching reserve grade, myself and Jamie Goddard. And I remember I was eating a hot dog and having a can of Coke. Oh. And the team manager found me in the stand and he looked at both Jamie Goddard and I and he said, "Go and put your boots on. You're going to sit on the bench for first grade."
Oh, wow.
And we thought, oh, that's great. We're 19 years of age. How good is this? Captain coach was Wally Lewis.
Oh, nice. That's far out.
So a dream for the opportunity to possibly, because we didn't know whether we were going to get on or not, to possibly play with the greatest player of all time. Anyway,
definitely.
We're sitting on the bench. About 12 or 13 minutes to go, we scored a try and Wally was walking back with the trainer and the trainer was talking to him. And I'll never forget it. Wally looked over his shoulder and he looked at both Jamie Goddard and I could read his lips still today. He said, "Put the two young fellas on." So both myself and Jamie Goddard went on, and I remember going on and packing in the scrum, and I'm thinking all I want to do is get out and get the ball in my hands first.
Yeah.
And
well,
when I got the
ball,
ball,
being the lock, you would.
Well, I wrapped around. I remember all I wanted to do was get tackled by Brett Kenny or tackle Brett Kenny.
Nice.
So I got the ball off the back of the scrum, and I just found where Brett Kenny was, and I ran straight at him, and he tackled me, and I thought to myself, I've been able to play alongside the greatest player of all time in Wally Lewis, who was also the coach.
Of course, that would be a dream come true.
And then got tackled by a guy that one day I think will become an immortal also.
Oh, definitely. It's on the books for sure.
So it was a memorable moment. And for me personally, it also gave me the confidence to finish the season off really well in the under 21s. And then in 1993, when that's when myself and guys like Goddard and Campion and Adrian Vowles, we then started playing a little bit more often in the first grade.
Yeah, nice. That sounds like a dream come true, in all honesty, by the sounds. What was it like playing for two Gold Coast-based clubs?
So the Chargers, I went back to the Gold Coast in 97, 98, when they changed their name. But the Crushers was a second Brisbane team, brought into the comp in 1995. Amazing scenes. They're going to go head-to-head with the Brisbane
I've been to the Crushers Leagues Club.
I think it's still around.
It is. I mean, last time I went to was like 07. As far as I know, it's still
there's
a thing.
Some NRL clubs that don't have leagues clubs today, and there's still a leagues club for a club that's actually not in the competition. But
exactly.
But it was great, going head to head with the Broncos, trying to win over that southeast Queensland fan base. And the first year in '95, we played the Canberra Raiders, and they won the comp the year before. We played them round one, and I'll never forget. Lang Park back then had a capacity of about 42,000. I think it was close to capacity that day, and then we had average crowds about 29,000 each week.
That's still pretty good.
It was amazing first year. And then the second year, CJ, I'll never forget, we sat down as a playing group. We had a pretty good first year. And we're sitting there, and before it even kicked the ball off in anger, the Super League war hit. Super League season was in 97, but the Super League had started to rear its head through 95, 96. And so at the start of the season, we're sitting there before a training session, and the club chairman came out and told us that unfortunately the club has no money, and we're not going to be able to be paid that year.
Spewing.
So basically, we played for the love of it. We trained every night.
Yeah, nice.
Played for the love of it. It took us back to why we originally played the game.
Yeah, definitely grassroots sort of stuff.
Yeah, we still had to have jobs.
Yeah.
It wasn't full-time back then, so you had to work harder in your day-to-day job and then try and find the energy to train and play each week with the knowledge of not getting paid. So
yeah, exactly.
We ended up getting something at the end of the year. It wasn't worth sneezing at, but in saying that, I ended up going back to the Gold Coast because everything stopped for me. Like we didn't get any money from the Crushers, and the club was getting kicked out of the competition, the Crushers. So I just thought to myself, I had to go back to where it started and start all over again. I'm glad I did that when I went back to the Chargers in 1997.
Nice. And what was that like going back to the Chargers? Yeah,
really good split competition, Super League ARL.
Yeah, because I know the Broncos, which is the team that I follow, won the 97 Super League Grand Final. Yeah, were the Chargers, were they in the Super League or were they
we were in the ARL.
Okay.
And it was perfect. It was a perfect scenario for the fans of the Gold Coast because
definitely
they were sick and tired of a Gold Coast team that was unsuccessful. And in the split season, we actually made the finals. We won the first week of the semi-finals, went through to the second week, and we're a couple of games away from a grand final. And that's what the Gold Coast people needed, a little bit more faith back in the game.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
To date, it's up there with the season we won with the Panthers in 2003.
Yep.
It was one of my most enjoyable seasons that I ever had in 97.
Yeah, nice.
But individually, the way that I played, and also just as a team, we're a really happy team, and it was a really good time in the Gold Coast to play rugby league. Yeah,
nice. That sounds really good. Moving on to your time at the Panthers, as you said, you moved on to them in 99, and then you won the 03 grand final with them. What was it like, moving to a club based in Sydney, and then also winning a grand final with them a few years later?
Yeah, so growing up on the Gold Coast, I always thought I wanted to finish my whole career at the Gold Coast, but in saying that, I got told halfway through the 98 season that by a very good friend of mine in the media in Queensland, Tony Durkin, he said to me, listen, I'm hearing whispers that the Gold Coast, along with some other clubs, are going to be kicked out of the comp in
With the formation of the NRL?
Yes.
Yep.
So we played Penrith on a Sunday afternoon. I got the award, the TV award that game, and the next morning Roy Simmons rang my dad actually and said, has Scott got a manager? He said, no, he hasn't. He said, oh, listen, we'd be interested in having a look at him. So they flew me down the following week to have a look at their facilities.
Yep.
And back then, Penrith had nearly the best facilities in the competition.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember landing in Sydney and then getting in a car, and it was middle of winter, and driving another hour and a quarter west.
Yeah, far out.
And I remember saying to the guy who was driving me out there, I said, how long to go? He said, still another 20 minutes or 30 minutes. I'm like, God, so I got out there and it was freezing cold. It was about 4 or 5 degrees.
Oh, definitely.
They showed me around the Oval and the stadium. They showed me around the facilities, the training facilities. And I just thought, I've got to come to a club like this.
Yeah, mate.
I was talking to South Sydney, Manly. I remember not wanting to go to South Sydney because that's where my dad played his whole career.
Yeah, mate.
And we played in the same jersey, and I didn't want to sort of tarnish the legacy.
Yeah.
So, and then I remember saying, it's out of Manly and Penrith. And I remember saying to my dad, it's out of Manly and Penrith. And he said to me, if you ever played for Manly, I'd never watch you play another game of rugby league because he hated Manly. Basically, going and looking at Penrith, it made the decision for me. And I formed a great relationship with the coach, Roy Simmons.
Oh, wonderful.
Still to this day, he's a tremendous coach, tremendous man. And then playing out in the western suburbs, just how much it meant to the people, the fans.
Yeah.
A one-team town.
Definitely.
Which meant that basically their whole working week revolved around how their team went on the weekend.
Yeah.
So it was I loved my time out there, loved the people, loved the fans. Panthers World of Entertainment was like Vegas in Australia. It was just a really good place to play rugby league.
Nice. Focusing on the grand final, what was that like to win it? And also, let's talk about that infamous tackle that is arguably probably one of the most famous tackles in NRL grand final history and possibly NRL history.
Well, the grand final itself was unexpected, to be honest. We got the wooden spoon in 2001. We finished, I think, second or third last in 2002. We were last after about round 3 or 4 in 2003.
Oh, far out.
We were paying 101 to 1 to win the comp.
If someone put a bet on for that early in the season.
Well, some of our very close mates did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, after round 5 they put money on, and then we beat the Warriors in round 6, I think it was, round 6 or 7 in New Zealand.
Yep.
And we beat them really convincingly. They were grand finalists the year before.
Yeah, they were.
I remember sort of thinking, hey, we'll probably squeeze into a top 8 position. And then when we got to the middle of the season, we got to the stage where we didn't know how to lose. We won 8 in a row.
Far out.
Yeah, then we got beaten by Melbourne, who brought us back to earth a little bit.
Yep.
And then
that's always good.
Yeah, and then we got beaten by Melbourne, and then the Dragons, and then the Roosters, and then we didn't lose another game from then. And we had a team of real young kids that have tasted a lot of success in the junior reps, and then we had some veterans.
They didn't really know how to lose.
Exactly, yeah, and they actually taught us older players like myself and Girdler and Martin Lang, and taught us older guys how to win again. So we had a team of young'uns, we had a team of lunatics, we had a team of larrikins, and you got to have a bit of each.
Yeah.
To win a comp, and then to go through, and we beat the Broncos in week 1 when we let them get out to a huge lead. I think they were 16-4 or 18-4 or something, and then we were playing the Warriors in the grand final qualifier. We'd already beaten the Warriors 3 times that year. We knew that playing the Warriors in the grand final qualifier, arrogantly, we knew that we were going to play in a grand final. We just knew that we had their measure. And then, we met the Roosters on grand final night. And
what was that like going up against a team that had been there 3 out of the last 4 years?
Yeah, quite intimidating. When you look at their lineup, Minicello, Chris Walker,
Fittler,
Burn, Ryan Cross, Fittler, Craig Wing,
Fitzgibbon,
Luke Ricketson, Shannon Hegarty, Adrian Morley, the list
all
goes
the machines,
on. Jason Kalis. It was quite intimidating, but funnily enough, CJ, at the grand final breakfast, I know you're going to ask me a question about John Lang later, so I'll leave a story the way that he prepared us for that game. But grand final breakfast on the Thursday morning, we travelled in on the Wednesday, stayed at a hotel, went to the breakfast at Darling Harbour. And they'd have both teams up at the front of the stage.
As they do,
and the MC in the middle. And I remember looking along our line of the grand final breakfast, and we had all these young guys that they didn't fear anything. They were laughing and carrying on, and us older players were probably a little bit more nervous. And I remember looking along the Roosters line, and Freddie had this real pensive, nervous, anxious look on his face.
Was he looking at you guys? Or?
No, he was just looking straight ahead into space. And I remember looking at Luke Ricketson, Fitzgibbon were always pretty casual characters. But I remember looking at Craig Wing and Brett Finch and those guys and thinking, they look really tense. And then we went to the grand final, and I remember on the bus going into the grand final, and in the distance from Penrith we saw Telstra Dome, ANZ Stadium.
I remember being.
I remember turning around and looking at. Looking at Martin Lang, and he had tears coming down out of his eyes. I went, "Can you believe this?" He goes, "I this is just amazing. I don't know how to control my emotions." And I remember we were sitting.
He would have broken down when you won.
He'd been at the Dragons in '99. Basically, they won the minor premiership. They should have won the comp. And got knocked out in grand final qualifier by the Dragons, and so both he and his father played a lot of rugby league and never won any premierships. So I remember sitting in our reserve grade team was playing in the grand final that day as well against Canberra. I remember sitting in where the reserves sit, because I used to go in last all the time to get ready. And I remember sitting in there, and on the screen watching our reserve grade. On the screen it showed both dressing rooms, and it showed our dressing room, and it showed Preston Campbell laying on the strapping table, and he was laughing and carrying on. He was waving at the camera where all the fans were, and everyone was cheering. And then it went to the Roosters dressing room.
And they were all focused. Showed
a picture of Anthony Minicello sitting on a chair just staring into space. And he looked really nervous.
Oh, wow.
I thought to myself, if we can withstand the first 20 minutes with these guys... watching the replay, which I did a few weeks ago, actually, you guys definitely... lasted. We went toe to toe and then put first points on the board. So
which is always good in a grand final.
I remember when Luke Rooney scored that try.
Oh, he was a machine for you guys.
2 tries that night. When he scored that try on the sideline, went to lead 16-4 with about 8 or 9 minutes to go. I still didn't think we'd won.
Oh, wow.
Because I remember walking across to Luke Rooney and everyone was celebrating. I said, "Hey, listen, this is great, but this team can put 3 tries on you in 6 or 7 minutes." So,
easily, like the Rabbitohs at the end of the 2014 grand final,
And then Preston kicked the goal from the sideline. I thought, it's going to be tough for them to come back from here. So, great time. And a different range of emotions for guys like myself and Girdler and Martin Lang, the older guys, compared to the guys like Lewis and Rooney and Rodney and Clinton and Waterhouse. They just thought it was going to happen every year. They're 19. They didn't care. So,
Nice. And circling back to the tackle that you made, what was going through your mind at the time? I'm guessing obviously just a matter of just got to get this guy, got to save the tackle, got to this, that, the other. But apparently I read somewhere in an article a few weeks ago that John Lang, the coach, made you each week run up a set of steps for training, and it turned out to be that exact amount of steps.
That was my training session.
Oh, okay.
Every Wednesday when we had the day off, I used to go up this old disused train line up in the lower Blue Mountains. And there's a set of steps that I used to do. It's quite grueling. I did that pretty much 90% of every Wednesday during the footy season and the pre-season. But the first week of training when John Lang came at the end of the 2001 season, preparing for 2002, he he actually said, "Oh, listen, I want my locks." He said, "And Sats as my lock. When the ball's on the other side of the field, on 5th and last, if the kick's going to be put in, I just want you to start running in behind the defensive line just in case you need it."
Yeah.
He used to always say, just be there in case you need it.
And you were needed.
I did that every week for the next 2 years. I just used to follow in behind if the ball was on the other side of the ruck. And on that occasion, I remember Ryan Girdler was the left centre, and he used to always bob up on the right-hand side, which you'd never see in this day and age.
No, you wouldn't.
Left stays on left, right stays on right.
Yep.
But he used to always go to the right-hand side. I remember on the 4th tackle, he ran past me. So where's he going? And then he grabbed the ball on the 5th tackle, put a kick in, and it ricocheted off Luke Rickettson's legs.
Yeah.
Freddie picked it up and fired this beautiful pass to Skinny Byrne, Toddy Byrne on that left eastern side touch line.
Yep.
And so because I was sort of heading in there, but like Johnny Lang had always
Just
told
in
me
case.
to do, I just took off. And everything was quiet. I couldn't hear anyone, couldn't hear this.
Yeah, it was just you and the chase sort of thing.
I never thought I was going to get him. I was
Wow,
always just going
really?
to try and get him to score in the corner. And
Yeah, or at least make it go to video ref sort of thing.
yeah, I just thought if I could just do my best to get near him and make him score in the corner, it'll make it difficult for Craig Fitzgibbon to kick the goal from the sideline. But it was a really wet night that night.
So you reckon that was on your side?
Oh yeah, I was always a bit of a mud runner myself. And
Yep.
it slowed down the quicker guys. And,
Yeah.
Luke Lewis got a really good ankle tap on him and sort of stifled his run a little bit. And when he took off, I remember I couldn't hear anything, but funnily enough, CJ, I could hear Reece Westham, our fullback.
Yeah.
I remember him yelling. My nickname was Scooter. He
Yeah.
said, "Keep going, Scooter.
Yeah.
I've got you inside." And that's the only thing I could hear. So I just
wait.
kept going. And if he stepped inside, I thought Reece would get him.
Yeah.
Fortunate enough for me, I kept getting a bit more ground on him in the wet and a bit more ground, and then I was able to get really good contact, and because it was wet, we slid in.
Yeah, and you got him in the touch.
And then-
Everyone, the roar around the stadium.
And again, I couldn't hear anything, but I remember turning around and looking, and Reece was dead set 30 metres away. If he stepped inside, there was no way in the world Reece was going to get him.
Yeah.
But I remember turning around and just... the happy thing for me was, people say today it was a turning point in the game. I don't think it was. I still think we would have won the game. That's just our mindset. But I remember turning around and seeing Reece and Tony Puletua arrive on the scene.
Yep.
And Tony Puletua, he started heavily sledging Toddy Byrne. I can't remember what he said. But and you look at the footage of it, there's an angle of it where Puletua's over the top of him, 6'4", 118 kilos, just sledging him. And
Far out.
But I remember them dragging me up off the ground, and that was one of the real proud moments of my individual career where I was able to do something for my teammates.
Yep.
And the reaction I got, because it was my last game for the club.
It was, yeah.
So it's just for me, might be a little bit selfish, I think, but for me,
it's all good.
I hold that as dear to my heart. Just the reaction from, not the incident itself,
Yep.
but actually the reaction from my teammates.
Yeah, no, that's not selfish at all, mate. Is there anything you miss and don't miss about playing the game?
I missed the 2-minute buzzer.
Okay.
There's a 2-minute buzzer that goes off, CJ, in the dressing shed of every game, and that means
2 minutes till go on the field.
till you run on.
Yep.
Once upon a time, it used to be a knock on the door from the linesman.
Yep.
But I missed the 2-minute buzzer.
Okay.
Being really relaxed before a game, 2-minute buzzer all of a sudden goes bang and brings you back to reality.
Yep.
I miss that.
Okay.
I miss getting paid to train
Yep.
and feel good and do it with a group of mates.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you woke up every morning and you go, right, I'm going to go run around the field and lift
And you
some
get paid to
weights
hang
and-
with your mates,
yeah,
pretty
go
much.
for a swim in the pool and with my mates for 6 hours a day. That's pretty cool. And
That'd be pretty good.
I miss going away on road trips.
Yep.
Like you go and play against the Warriors, you've got to go for 3 days.
Yeah.
You do it with your teammates.
Yeah.
They're good times. You're like a group of big kids.
Yeah, nice.
I miss that. I don't miss the playing.
Yeah.
Don't miss the playing side of it because you get injured. And
Yeah, of
then you have
course.
surgeries. and-
Yeah.
But I missed the 2-minute buzzer.
Yeah, nice. Fair enough. What was Johnny Lang like as a coach?
He's a genius, Johnny.
Yeah?
The best way to explain Johnny is 2 words: old school,
Yep.
and one word simplistic.
Okay.
Basically, he has a basic approach to rugby league. There is no game plan.
Yep.
It is about doing everything you do really well. Know your role.
Yep.
Do it well. Don't make mistakes, and do it with a high level of intensity.
Yep.
And if you make the smart decisions and play a really controlled rugby league, more times often than not, you win the game.
Yeah.
And when you talk about Johnny Lang, and what I was alluding to earlier on, is that I suppose that the great thing about Johnny is he doesn't overcomplicate things. In grand final week, we've had coaches in the past in rugby league that have overcomplicated grand final week.
Yep.
And their players go into games overcooked mentally and emotionally, and they're burnt out before they get there.
Yeah.
I think a perfect example was 2001, the Parramatta side that broke every record and they were burnt out before they got there. But in saying that, I remember on the Monday of grand final week, we turned up at training. Regular routine as we went into the opposition's dressing shed to have our meeting about the week ahead.
Yep.
We did that every week. And all the media was outside because there's only 2 teams left in the comp.
Yep.
First training session for grand final week. Johnny Lang said to us, I've got a game plan for our grand final. I know a few of you are a bit concerned, and a few of you was myself and Girdler and Gower. We'd all said on the Sunday after beating the Warriors, knowing we were going to play the Warriors. The Roosters, they beat us quite convincingly about 8 weeks beforehand.
Yeah.
6 or 8 weeks beforehand. We're going to have to come up with a different game plan if we're going to beat them.
Yeah.
So we sort of mentioned it to Langy, and Langy slept on it, and he come to training on the Monday. He said, I've got a game plan. A few of you are concerned about a game plan for the Roosters, so here it is. The Roosters are big, they're fast, they're aggressive, they run hard, they tackle hard. So we're going to run harder and we're going to tackle harder. That's our game plan. So we all went, what?
Yeah.
And straight away it just took all the pressure off us, and we thought, okay, let's just go and enjoy the week. And he said, enjoy the week, guys. I want you to do every interview you have to do. I want you to go on any footy show you have to go on and just enjoy this
Lap
week.
it up, sort of thing.
He said, because I coached a guy by the name of Andrew Eddingshausen.
Yeah, E.T.
Who never got to win a premiership.
Got close in the 97 Super League.
Did. And he said, so I want everyone to enjoy it because it may never happen again. And so it just took all the pressure off us. And that's why I think that was one of his greatest attributes, is that he just kept everything really easy and he put faith in his players.
Yeah. Just a few more questions before we wrap up for Try Time Trivia. What's your opinion of the ball stripping rule potentially being outlawed?
I know the fans have voted on the NRL.com survey. 60% have said they like it. It's become a calculated act now.
It has, yeah.
But it's also spontaneous in a way that as a fan, you're sitting there watching and all of a sudden your team ends up with the ball.
Yep.
You go, hang on a sec, we've got the ball. I'd like to see it outlawed again.
Or the strip the ball?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just feel as though that it takes away from really effective one-on-one tackling.
It does, yeah.
So a really good tackler these days, you don't get rewarded for tackling around the legs.
No, you don't.
Like a good Jake Trbojevic tackle, there's no reward because the referee's trying to get you up off the ground, and if you don't get off the ground quick enough after a really effective tackle. The art now is when a guy runs the ball up, you basically what they call catch them. You sort of basically just take the impact and you hold them. 2 other guys come in and take their attention away from everything other than the ball, and all of a sudden they drop off and the ball gets ripped out. I just think we're taking away from the true fundamentals of the game, which is a really good effective tackle.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think the more we allow it to happen, the more tacklers we're going to have up around the ball and shoulder region, which can deflect up onto the chin and head.
Yep.
And takes away from the really good fundamental tacklers.
And what have you been doing post-career? I know you had a stint as a position of some sort for the Gold Coast Titans.
Yeah, I was the inaugural general manager of rugby league at the Gold Coast Titans. I was there for 4 years.
Okay.
The initial 2 years when we were setting up the club and trying to get a licence, we were successful in doing that. Loved my time in operations. Would love to go back into that in some capacity.
Yep.
Probably because I've gone out into the private sector now.
Yep.
I've got out of rugby league from an operational sense. I've got my own investigation firm.
Oh, wow.
So a private investigation firm, which I've had for a number of years. And I do that on a full-time basis, running that company along with business partner. Outside of that, I still do a lot of media. I call for NRL Nation, which has got the 5 years NRL rights on the radio.
Yep.
We call 4 games each weekend of the rugby league. Go to all the regional parts, 70% of New South Wales and Queensland that never used to get the rugby league.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And also I call for Channel 9 on Sunday afternoons. Yeah, so still heavily involved in the media. And myself and Gary Belcher, former NRL player.
Yep.
We host a show called Sports Day every night on radio, which goes for 2 hours from 6 till 8.
You played your final season of the NRL in 04 with the Tigers. What was it like moving after winning a grand final with a team you'd been at for a few years and, got to know the boys and all that, going to an entirely new club, etc.?
It was tough.
Yeah?
It was really tough because you come from a club that's been successful in 03 going to a club that needed a lot of work.
Well, they won the comp the year after that.
They did.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, they did. So, so my focus was, I thought, well, I'm 31, 32. I've been around the traps a fair while. I always classed myself as a really good trainer. I just thought to myself, and I knew that the West Tigers had quite a bad culture from a training ethic and a work ethic point of view. So I took the focus as I could go over there and really enjoy my footy, but also try and I suppose, do my best to change some of the mindset around. But the main reason I went over there was because Roy Simmons was the assistant and Tim Sheens, who I just idolised.
Yeah.
When he had the Raiders.
One of the super coaches, in my opinion, for sure.
Top 3 greatest coaches of all time, you know, and just a great man. And I just wanted to be able to serve a couple of years. I signed for 2 years, 04-05, and about 3/4 of the way through my 04 year, I didn't miss a game that year, and I had a really good season, but 3/4 of the way season, my knee kept locking up. Just wasn't able to prepare for games the way that I like to, and didn't affect me during the game, but the recovery for games was a lot longer, and it was really hurting. In winter, it was excruciating, the arthritis.
Oh, I would have, especially.
So I remember sitting down with Tim Sheens and the then CEO, Steve Noyce and Roy Simmons, and saying, hey, listen, I might call it quits at the end of the year. And they tried to talk me around, and then I remember December that year in 04, I'd retired, and I was cleaning my mother-in-law's pool, and I got a phone call from Tim. And he said, you sure you don't want to come back? And I said, listen, I'd love to, but if I'm not going to be able to prepare the way that I used to, which is do the things I always did, I don't think I'd be able to play the way that I
would have potentially got injured
exactly,
as well.
And I didn't want whatever small legacy I may have had, I didn't want that to be affected.
Yeah.
And
we definitely have a cult legacy at the Panthers.
And at the Tigers, had some really exciting youngsters coming through. They had Liam Fulton, they had Robbie Farah,
Benji Marshall,
Bryce Gibbs, Dean Hallertau, just to name a few.
So many, yeah.
I just felt as though that if I was going to take up X amount of dollars in the salary cap, that could have been going to these young guys. That would be selfish of me.
Yeah.
I never played for the money, and so I felt as though that going back would have been a disservice.
Yeah.
Stupidly, they win the premiership. I remember the morning after the grand final when they were all having a drink, and I got a phone call from Tim Sheens, and he rang and said, hey, we're just all here, just wanted to say g'day. And to me, that made me feel as though that my time there was really enjoyable under Tim and Royce. I loved it, and Steve Noyce, the CEO, and the players that were there, seeing a young Benji Marshall.
Nice.
And being able to play alongside those guys for 1 year, that still really held a really close place in my heart.
Yeah, for sure. It would. Try time trivia, you know how it works, guys. It's 6 questions. Mark Guy got 6 out of 6.
Yep.
Jamie got 5 out of 6. Just quick fire, ended off with an easy one.
Yep.
Question 1. Which club defeated the New Zealand Warriors in the 2002 Grand Final?
Roosters.
Yes. At the 2015 NRL Grand Final, what was the final score?
Oh, God. Was it 15-14?
No, it was 17-16.
17-16.
The Penrith Panthers were formerly known as the Chocolate Soldiers because their jerseys were what colours?
Brown and white.
Yes. Which 5'8" received a total of 8 Men of the Match awards for State of Origin?
Wally Lewis.
Yes. The Wiggles' Anthony Field is a strong supporter of which NRL club?
He's a strong supporter of the Tigers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very true.
Is that supposed to be the easy one?
That was the easy one, because you played for the Tigers, you thought maybe he went under there, sort of thing. So you got 5 out of 6, so you're tied with Jamie Howard. I want to thank you very much for joining me on this podcast, and everyone be sure to tune into his radio show.
It's Sports Day.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And also be sure to tune into NRL Nation Radio on Thursdays and Fridays to hear Sats doing his commentary.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
No worries. Thanks, CJ.